One of the best tools we've been given in the marketing and advertising space, especially for our real estate business, is going to be Claude. In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to use Claude Design a little bit different. Like, I know you guys have seen the websites and the flyers, but I'm going to show you guys how to create an entire advertising studio to use Claude and to build assets pretty much at demand. So keep this about 15 minutes because I don't want to take too long, but I'm gonna give you guys a full deep dive on how to actually use Claude Design beyond just the typical, just standard stuff you guys have been seeing. So without further ado, let's get to work. Now, if you don't know by now, you should have a paid Claude account. This way you have access to all of the tools. Start with the most cost effective one, which is $20, and then work your way up based off of the usage. We're gonna jump inside the web version, which now Claude has blended the two. And you see here where it says Design Lab, we'll come to Design Lab, and that's gonna take us right over here to our Design Lab. Now, the very first thing you guys have to do when you guys are working in Claude Design is you need to create a design system. So let's create our design system, and I'll show you just the easier way to go about building it. There are two ways you can go about using the Design Lab, which through Claude Code. And then of course we can create it from scratch. We're going to create it from scratch because it gives us a lot more options. Now, here is where we pretty much sum up exactly what this whole brand, kind of the brand Bible we're going to be building inside of Claude, what it's going to be used for. You can give it more like a blurb of what the business is, the name, design style. Of course, we can use a GitHub. We're not going to use that today because we don't have, I'll do another video on how you guys can create a repo if you want to. You know, drag and code from the computer. No, we're not using anything from Figma right now, which they do have a really good MCP for Figma. We're going to come here under where we can just add whatever we want. So you can see where we can drop the designs. The beautiful part about being able to just give it what you want, we can just jump on websites and just, you know, take screenshots of websites or designs we really like and use those elements. Let me show you a really cool way to go about finding elements. So I'm gonna bring you guys over here to Behance, and don't worry, I'll put the link inside the description so you guys can go here. But Behance to help you guys find any type of design you possibly can think about. Like, this is the world designer. So you can see here, let's go and pull up, here we go, brand identity. Let's see what we can find, right? Let's see if we pull something we like. Any elements, colors, typography. I normally go to the brand identity because a lot of times you'll see when you go to brand identity, I'm gonna find something clean. There's a little lot going on, something a little cleaner we can like tinker around with. You'll see when you go and let's just for the sake of training, when you come to the brand identity, you'll see a lot of times it gives you the typography, it gives you the color. Clearly this is a custom type. You can see the different types of type it shows you. It normally gives you the color palette that's being used. So you could just take these snapshots, and if this was an element that we wanted to use, and I think this might be a fun training exercise because you can see all of the colors that'll possibly be used here. So we have the color, and I'll take a screenshot of that. And here's an idea of the typography that they're using. So let's use that. Let's try and get some elements of some of the design so we can have some things to play with. So here's some of the design in motion. We're not going to be able to really replicate this custom typography, so I ain't gonna worry about that. Let's see if we have enough. I'll take this one as well, just as a support, right? But I think we have enough because I like the black on the background, which is something to play with. So we'll come back to Claude Design, and down here is where we'll upload those images. So we're gonna come down to desktop here, the 3 images that we had. So we have the typography, we have the design, we give it all of that. And here we'll just give it just perspective about what this is going to be about. So let's just call this Modern New York Agent. Let's say design system, Modern New York that's the name of the company. We're a luxury real estate company located in Manhattan. We specialize in single family co-ops. What we're gonna say, clean design, very modern, simplicity. Get that type. Just throw some terms in there, and then we'll add some things out here. use the images that I provided to create just the brand voice. Don't create any elements, just an outline of everything we provided, from the typography, the colors, so we can determine later what type of elements we want to start building. This is for a real estate company, so it needs to be fun, modern, clean, but professional as well. Keep it simple. The design needs to be direct. I think that's it. That should be enough, because it's going to take a little bit for us to kind of just to propagate. Now, for you guys that are, and what I'll do is I'll get this started and start generating. A lot of times, a lot of people give it a logo. If you want to give it a logo, I'll show you guys how to create a quick logo while this is, while this is all cooking up. And we'll come back when this is completely done. So let's go and take a look at, like, if you want to, like, for you guys, it's like, I just need a logo to go along with it. Let's go and create a logo. I'll show you like a really, really cost effective and really like, a really cool way to make a logo. Now, if you don't have a logo, if you come over to Higgsfield, and I'll put the link inside the description as well. And if you come down, you'll see where it says Recraft v4.1. We'll click that, VCraft 4.1, and we'll set it as vector. You guys know about design vectors, where you can actually like use it inside of Adobe Illustrator and get a lot more done. And let's say, hold on, create me a logo for my real estate company. The real estate company is called Modern New York Agent. Black and white design. And there, we ain't gonna go crazy with it. See what we get. I'm just using this so we can create an element, so we can bring back inside of Claude Design, because it is gonna ask for a design. You'll see why you want to give it some type of logo. If you have one, if you don't have one, like I said, it's an easy way to generate one. We can also make any adjustments with this once we bring it inside of Claude. So, all right, let's just use, for the sake of argument, if we don't like all of this type, right, all of the typography that's here, we can make that adjustment inside Claude. So I'll pick, let's use this one for our design, and we'll bring this over to Claude now. All right, so I've uploaded the logo, and remember, just so we don't get lost, I'll leave this up so we can go back to the design that we kind of pulled for inspiration. We kind of see our design system is pretty much ready to go. It shows some elements of, here's the logo that we created. So this is the logo that we created here. That's uploaded in, gave us different variations of it, especially as watermarks, as a logo, what it looks like, if we do some elevation of a shadow, some motion, corners, interactive. Here's the color palettes. Remember, this is where we pulled inspiration from, right? So we have the color palette, some gradient colors, neutrals, primary, semantic. This is just in case of like if we created something and it shows errors. I think this is ready to go, right? So let's go and let's take a quick peek. All right, some base typography. Let's go back up. So normally you can set this as a default. We're going to set this as published. We're going to design on top of it, but you can set it as a default. That way, whenever you want to use this, so when you're making something, it'll just come right back to here. But we're going to start with a new design, and we're going to build on top of this, right? It's going to take us to a whole new window, and you'll see once you get to the new window, this is where we can start to build those assets. Now, if we wanted to, we could continually building if we had the design or the ideas that we were thinking about working on, because now we have our design system created. You can kind of work with whatever you want from there. The unique part about when you have your system already prepared, we can go back and view it. But I want to go back to the home page, because on the home page, you have a lot of templates that you can choose from. So right here, you can go through different templates, and most people are using, Claude Design for like websites and landing pages. I'll show you a better way to get landing pages and websites and things of that nature done when it comes to HTML. That's a lot easier to use than going through this process, but this is perfect for advertising. So we're going to do some animated ads, and let's jump in and say, I want to create some animated ads for Instagram and Facebook, mainly for short form. Can you just start working on the animation, and I'll come back and give you the images to use for our real estate business. This is for our open house and our new listings, but just make sure the animation is compelling enough to stop the scroll, and any of the sizing that you need, let me know what sizing you need so I can have the images created for these animations. But I just want the animation created to start with. All right, we give it something to play with. We have it on Opus 5. I think you guys synced that. All right, let me come over here and we'll let that build up, and we'll come back once this is formatted. All right, now that this is done, you can see all of our animated assets are ready. The studio is ready, so you can see they pulled from the Meta Ad Studio to get the proper ratio, of course, the proper sizing we need to get the images. You can see it's set for real stories, vertical. It's the regular news feed, end stream, link to the right. I think the only problem, problem is going to be the link to the right, because you don't get any movement on the link to the right when you're running ads on Facebook. Here's something else cool. Got a few control buttons here where if we wanted to hold the frame, it can still rotate. Of course, we want it to be animated. I don't think I'll be using the link to the right, but you'll see as we start to build through it how it propagates through all 5 of these. All right, now we know that this is straight. We have where we can tweak it and we can make the adjustments. What we'll do is I'll go back and pull up a listing. That way we can pull up images. We can also pull up the information we want to put in here under the tweak section so we can make the adjustments. So you guys can see this is like fully customizable, right? We can customize every part of the ads. Now you have a full ad studio that you guys can go in and build. There's a rule when it comes to advertising. There's an 80-20 rule. 80% of advertising is based off the creative. The other 20% is the targeting. What makes running ads so expensive is always producing assets. And now you guys can produce assets at scale, right? Like just as simple as adding images. What I'll do is I'm going to jump in Gemini, and we'll use Gemini to either adjust whatever images we have or fully stage the images. And if you don't have, like I said, if you just want to create something from scratch, you also have the option to use something like Higgsfield where we made the logo. But let's go and pull up a listing so we can kind of get this propagated properly so we can see what this looks like when it's in motion. So we'll pause here. Now let's jump in Zillow. I'm coming to Zillow because what I'm looking for is a property that have it's not staged, right? It's just vacant. And I'm gonna show you just a nice, cool workaround you guys can use in Gemini to give you guys some staging. And then we just pull a couple of images. That way you can kind of see the example that we're going to use. Remember, these are for advertising, so the visuals are super, super important, you guys. All right, let's take this one. Let's pull a few. Pull this one. And this is a bedroom at. I like the lighting. Let's pull his bedroom. All right, let's come back to Gemini. And we're jumping in Gemini, you guys, really quickly. And we're going to use their design studio. And we'll add one of these images. Let's add this one. And we'll say, keep this image exactly how it is, but give it an interior design. Give it a contemporary feel. Just add the furniture and curtains to design the property. We'll let that cook. And once we have that image, the great part about how this is set up is it will propagate to fit the proper sizing. So I ain't gonna worry about that right now. Perfect. There we go. Let's drop that over here. And we got some staging going on. Let's come back in here. Let's get us our image. Where's the image? Boom. This is our image. And here we go. All right, let's see what it looks like. Nice. Nice. Very nice. 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 I'm not gonna worry about the columns. And even if you wanted to add, let's pull up another image and throw it in there real quick. Sorry about that. I'll go back to desktop. There we go. Let's throw this in here. There you go. All right. So now you got a full studio, you guys. Like now you just need to add the assets. And remember, these are animated ads. So video view ads are super inexpensive. I think they're like 2-3 cents a view. Nothing crazy. Where you have the reach, a video view. This is a great way to get your message out there. But you have eye-catching visuals now to go along with it. So let's jump back to the front because I want to show you guys a few other elements you guys can play around with inside of Claude Design. All right, I don't want this video to be too long, but I wanted to give you guys a really clear overview of how you guys can use Claude Design. So we're back at the opening or the home page, and what I want to show you guys is some of the templates. Now, keep in mind, these templates are just starters. Like, they're just giving you a setup. You can ask Claude to build whatever you want. Anything that has a design element that you think you need, that's what you would think about when you ask it to use when you're given the description of what you're trying to give here, which would be the prompt. But here are just excellent templates you guys can play around with. For you guys that may ask about like websites and things of that nature, this is the HTML is going to be the best fit for you guys. Of course, your listing presentation, this is for the slides and documents. And then just like small projects that you want to have for yourself internally, mobile apps. I'll come back and show you guys how to use other software like Base 44 and a few others to tie them in when you're using some of the design front elements. But right now, the assignment I'll give you guys to do from this video is let's build out our first advertising studio. Right? I'm gonna have a full guide for you guys below that you guys can use, the full prompt breakdown. And I would love to see what you guys are building. So hopefully you guys got a very clear perspective of what Claude can do on a deeper level, right? We know we can do websites and landing pages. We know we can do things like flyers and just images, but you want to think about adding assets to your business. Now you guys understand how to create an entire advertising studio, so you guys can create these creatives at demand now, right? So the assignment I'm going to give you guys is I want you guys to always take something you get from these videos and apply it, right? My goal is for you guys to move that implementation. So I'm going to put a full guide of the tools, the software that we use, the prompts, and I would love to see your advertising asset you guys created or other things you guys create using Claude Design. But if you want to get a deeper dive when it comes to Claude, I have this video here where I take you guys step by step through every feature, every tool, and I try to clear it up so it's easier to understand when you guys are using Claude.